The film World War Z, directed by Mark Forster and starring Brad Pitt, is a fast-paced apocalyptic thriller centered on a sudden global zombie pandemic. It's loosely based on Max Brooks' novel of the same name but takes a very different narrative approach. The movie opens with scenes of everyday life via news reports, people going to work, traffic, and chatter, setting a normal tone that quickly turns into chaos. It hints at the growing tension in the world, foreshadowing what's to come. The main character, Jerry Lane, played by Brad Pitt, is a former United Nations investigator who has retired to spend more time with his wife Karen and their 2 daughters in Philadelphia. As the movie begins, the Lane family is driving through the city when a strange traffic jam halts everything. They soon realize something is terribly wrong. People are running, screaming, and there's panic everywhere. Suddenly, an explosion rocks the area. Chaos erupts as people begin attacking one another. The infected are not just violent, they move with terrifying speed, turning victims into zombies within seconds of being bitten. Jerry, using his instincts and training, quickly deduces that this is a viral outbreak. He narrowly manages to get his family out of the city and seeks refuge in an apartment building with a sympathetic family. That night, the infected swarm the building. Jerry's military contacts send a helicopter to extract his family from the rooftop in a tense, chaotic sequence filled with noise, screams, and desperation. The helicopter takes them to a U.S. Navy vessel where Global Task Force is trying to manage the crisis. The world's governments are crumbling, and communications are going down fast. Jerry meets with Thierry Amutoni, his old UN colleague, who explains that the military and scientists need Jerry to investigate the origin of the virus. They believe finding patient zero could help create a cure or vaccine. Jerry is reluctant. His main concern is his family, but he's told that his family's safety on the ship depends on his cooperation. He agrees to go on the mission. Jerry's first stop is South Korea, where the first official report of the outbreak was made. He travels with a team of soldiers and a young virologist who accidentally kills himself upon landing, leaving Jerry without scientific help. At the South Korean military base, Jerry learns that the infection spreads through bites and that infected people transform in about 10 seconds. The soldiers also mention hearing rumors about North Korea pulling out everyone's teeth to stop the spread. Jerry notices something strange during an attack at the base. The zombies ignore an injured soldier and an elderly man. This detail plants the seed for the film's central mystery: why some people are not attacked. From Korea, Jerry learns about a possible lead in Jerusalem, where Israel built a giant wall before the outbreak reached them. The wall seems to be keeping the zombies out. In Jerusalem, Jerry meets Jurgen Wormbrunn, an Israeli intelligence officer. Wormbrunn explains that Israeli intelligence intercepted information about the virus early and built the wall in advance. Inside Jerusalem, life seems almost normal. People sing, socialize, and live peacefully. But this moment of relief doesn't last long. A loud celebration inside the city draws the attention of zombies outside. The noise causes the undead to swarm and pile on top of each other, creating a zombie ladder that breaches the wall in a visually stunning and horrifying scene. Panic spreads inside Jerusalem as the undead flood the streets. Jerry barely escapes, helped by a soldier named Sejin, who gets bitten during the escape. Thinking quickly, Jerry cuts off Sejin's hand to stop the infection from spreading. The two narrowly make it to an aircraft and take off as Jerusalem falls to the undead. On the plane, chaos seems momentarily distant, but a hidden infected passenger turns mid-flight, and the infection spreads rapidly inside the cramped cabin. Jerry detonates a grenade to create a hole and decompress the plane, sucking out the infected. The explosion saves them but causes the aircraft to crash land in Wales. Injured but alive, Jerry and Sejin make their way to a World Health Organization (WHO) research facility nearby. They hope to find scientists working on a cure. The WHO facility. Jerry explains his theory. The zombies seem to ignore people who are terminally ill or already dying. He believes the infection perceives them as unfit hosts. The scientists confirm that such a theory could explain observed anomalies. If true, it means that a kind of camouflage could be created by infecting humans with a harmless or curable disease, making them invisible to the zombies. However, The samples of these pathogens are stored in another part of the building, a one that's already overrun by zombies. Jerry volunteers to go retrieve the samples himself, accompanied by a few surviving doctors. The sequence is tense and quiet, filled with suspense as they sneak through dark corridors surrounded by the undead. Jerry finally reaches the lab and selects a vial of deadly but treatable disease. But before he can return, he is trapped in a room with a zombie. In a moment of desperate courage, Jerry injects himself with one of the pathogens, effectively testing his theory on himself. The zombie approaches, sniffs him, but then ignores him completely, proving the theory correct. Jerry walks calmly past the undead, immune to their attacks. Back with the scientists, Jerry is treated for the disease and recovers. He contacts his family to tell them he's alive and that a cure or at least a defense strategy now exists. The film concludes with a montage showing the humanity beginning to fight back. Soldiers and civilians use the camouflage technique to pass through infected zones safely. Jerry narrates that the war is far from over, but for the first time, there's hope. The world now has a way to survive and fight back against the apocalypse. The final message is one of resilience and human ingenuity. Despite chaos, loss, and fear, humanity adapts and endures.